Hi, this is Whitney from Purl Soho, and I'm going to show you a special little technique for creating a polished folded hem with a lovely crochet chain detail. We used this bind off for our essential knit tee pattern, and you can see it here along the cuffs of the sleeves. This little crocheted line right here that seals off this hem, and also along the neckline here for the collar. So let's get started. Before you get to the step of making your knit hem, you will have placed a lifeline in your knitting. This is a technique for indicating the stitches in one round so that you can easily pick them up later on. So you work this lifeline in as you knit this round, and in the case of the essential knit tee pattern, you do that 12 rounds before you're ready to begin your hem. So if you need some help with this step, be sure to check out our Adding a Lifeline tutorial, and then we can move on to making the hem. The first thing to do as you knit this hem is to locate the first stitch that's on your lifeline. To do that, you just follow the column of stitches from the first stitch on your left needle. You follow this column of stitches down until you reach the lifeline. And this here is your first stitch on the lifeline. So what you're going to do is take your crochet hook and insert it into the center of that stitch, just like that, from the front of the work to the back of the work. Then bring the crochet hook up the back of the work, like this, and insert it into the first stitch on your left needle purlwise, like you're purling a stitch. Then take your working yarn and wrap it around your crochet hook like you were knitting a stitch, and then bring that stitch out the back like that, and allow the stitch on your left needle to come off the left needle. Now you have a hook here, a stitch here on your crochet hook, and what you're going to do is bring the crochet hook back out to the front of the work, bringing that stitch with it, like that. So now you have one stitch here on your crochet hook, and in order to start binding off, you need two. So what we're going to do is do that again in the next stitch on the lifeline, which is right here. Insert the crochet hook into the center of that stitch, bring it up the back of the work like this, insert it into the first stitch purlwise, take your working yarn, wrap it around the stitch, and bring your crochet hook out the back of the stitch and allow it to fall off the left needle. Then bring this stitch that's on your crochet hook from the back of the work to the front of the work. Now you have two stitches on your crochet hook, and you are ready for your first bind off, which is a slip stitch. If you know crocheting, it's a slip stitch. You just grab that first stitch with your hook and you bring it through the first stitch that you made, like that. That's your first bound off stitch. Let's do that again so that you can see the rhythm you need to get into. So here we insert the crochet hook into the next stitch on the lifeline, bring it up the back, purl, wrap your yarn, and bring your crochet hook out the back of that stitch and allow it to come off the left needle. Then we're going to bring that stitch through to the front of the work like that. You have two stitches on your crochet hook and slip stitch that stitch through. Now you can see that a little chain is starting to form. We have two stitches. It's key to be pretty loose and while you do this. You don't want this crochet chain to get too tight. You want it to be even and fairly loose so that your hem has some stretch and give. So don't pull too tight when you do this step. And you can see that a really pretty little chain is forming, and so I'm going to work on doing that all the way around, and we'll come back when I'm at the end so you can see how to finish. Once you've bound off your last stitch and you have just one stitch on your crochet hook, you're going to cut your yarn and pull it through to the front of your work. So leave a nice tail that you can weave in and just pull it through to the front of your work like that. Now you can also see that there is a small gap here between where you started your bind off and where you ended. And so there's a really simple way to close that gap neatly. You thread your tail onto a tapestry needle and you pass the needle under both legs of that first bound off stitch, like that, going from the bottom to the top. And pull your yarn through. And then you insert your needle through the center of the last bind off stitch, which is right here. And you insert the needle right through the center and pull your needle to the back of your work. So you have a tail at the back of your work ready to weave in, and you seamlessly finished this nice line of your crochet bind off. The last step is to pull your lifeline out. Just sort of go along like this and pull it out. And then you can see right here this beautiful hem with this nice crochet detail along the edge of it. It's a really wonderful way to finish cuffs, collars, even the bottom of a sweater if you're working a top-down sweater. And that's it. That's all there is to it.